and I'll get this link out to all of you. Okay, guys, welcome to the call. We're going to make this quick. A lot of you have been asking the compensation plan for the GXBroker. I first heard about it last month, about a month and a bit ago, and I saw it in detail, and I was pretty excited to where it was, how it's how easy it is, but there's also certain people that want to know how it works, if you're going to build wide or go deep. One of the documents that Sharpan put out, a lot of you will be able to see that very soon. But I'm going to have him go over it in detail today and share with you why it's a great opportunity for not just us, for all the brokerages that we're going to be opening down the road. And I'm actually looking forward to the many ideas you have, everyone here, because we're all networkers and marketers, on the ideas that you have on growing this. Because once you see the actual comp plan, I think the wheels are going to start spinning in your head as to how you can maximize that plan and what's maybe the best way to do that. So on that note, let's get this going. So you all know Sharpan. This guy he's doing everything. He wears many hats, and here's the deal. He's great at everything that he does. And so when he explains this to you, it's going to be in full detail. So I will record it. And make sure to pass it out to everybody. But so Sharpan, you are on. I'm not sure if you can use your little writing note thing. If you have, you do what you do, because it doesn't matter what you do, how you do it. It's all impressive anyway. So on that note, guys, here is the man, the myth. I got a second here, Mr. Sharpan. Let me unmute you. You're muted. There you go. Okay, brother. Go ahead.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Perfect. Well, thank you everyone for getting on the call. I'm going to use this as a triple kill, so I hope if I extend it by a couple minutes, no one is too upset. I'm actually going to go over the compensation plan really quickly, and then I am going to release to everyone, every single broker. I'm going to email out the compensation plan for both the GXBrokers and GXBroker dealers tonight. But I'm also going to show you guys the back office on my computer, which I will be releasing, and I will also be showing you guys the process by which you can use it and where everything stands, because over the weekend I was planning on releasing that in a series of videos, but I just wanted to take this as an opportunity to do it so you guys can ask questions and chime in. So you guys will be getting the comp plan, the back office, and some of the new features that we have been working on. Believe it or not, every day we are adding a lot of capacity and features to the GXBroker product. It has grown tremendously, much more than we had suspected, both in just the size of where things are going, but also in terms of features, and we're super excited about it. So I will start with the comp. I'm going to share my screen because I have it all written out here. If you guys have any questions, just feel free to jump in, because I feel like that's the best thing. If I'm going to answer the question and anything in a subsequent topic, then I'll just let you know. So let's rock and roll. Okay, do you guys see my screen? It should say GXBroker compensation.
Yes.
Beautiful. The idea, this first page, and this is the document that will be released to everyone. And some of you have already seen this. And then there's a compensation for broker dealers, which I will release as well, which some people have seen, some people have not, but the majority of people haven't seen that. The first page is just an introduction. And then I'm going to go into the 3 ways that you can earn from your brokerage. The first one is called brokerage volume, or BV bonus. The second one is called qualified trader acquisition, or CTA bonus. And then the third one is monthly reoccurring revenue, or MMR bonus. 2 of these 3 are not even in existence right now. So 2 and 3 are not even in existence. The only one that's in existence, and the one that we're going to cover today, is number 1. The remaining 2 are actually coming out on August 1st. And just to give you a little bit of understanding about how we put this together, we really studied every type of financial compensation plan that there is for any type of product, everything from obviously MLM to direct sales to the cryptocurrency exchanges to anything you can imagine, Forex platforms. And we wanted to create a brokerage that was homogenous with any one particular sales type. And so there are lots of people who thrive at different ways of being able to build their business. And no matter which one of these you monetize, and you'll be able to monetize all of them, you don't have to pick one, depending on how you build your business, you'll be able to be productive and make a lot of money. To go quickly over it, just in high level before I get into the detail, the brokerage volume bonus is getting paid predicated on how much dollar value goes through your brokerage. So it's completely transactional way of making money. The second one is a more fixed commission way of making money, which will be for every new trader, every new customer that comes on board, you get a fixed dollar amount irrespective of how much volume they do. So that's a customer acquisition model. And then the third one will be if there are people in your brokerage who are subscribed to monthly products, whether there are data services or trading services, whatever it is, if they're paying on a monthly basis, then you would be receiving a revenue share predicated on their monthly subscription. So obviously 2 and 3 are applicable after August 1st. This one is applicable starting to, obviously it's the one that is applicable, and that's the one we're going to talk about today in great detail. So brokerage volume, all the power of an exchange in your hands. So before I get started, I want to just define some terms. There is a lot of jargon I'm going to use in this, and there's a glossary on the back of this page. So you guys can reference that so that any jargon has a meaning. But words that I will continue using are volume. You're going to hear that over and over again. The most important type of volume in your brokerage is total transactional volume, TTV. And total transactional volume represents the total volume denominated in US dollars. Irrespective of whatever you're selling or whatever goes to your brokerage, we denominate all commissions and all volume in US dollars. That simplifies everything quite a bit, and you'll understand why. But the TTV is the total volume produced in any given GX brokerage. Traditionally, some people have called this trading volume, and it's equated by multiplying the total number of transactions by the total amount of dollars that is being transacted. So this is, if there's $1 billion worth of volume through your brokerage, that just means $1 billion worth of X access was even churned, that was even traded in your brokerage. It's the highest level of volume, the most abstracted form of volume that you will experience. As you guys may or may not know, there are 3 types of transactions that you guys can process through your brokerages. And I actually want to take some time to talk about this because this will open your eyes as to why this is such a lethal opportunity well, it's very lucrative before August 1st because of our token, but after August 1st, why this is such a lethal opportunity. So the first type of transaction you can process is a token broker transaction. This is the act of someone buying any type of illiquid tokens from your brokerage. So they're bringing dollars and they're buying ICOs, STOs, etc. These are illiquid tokens. So right now, you're already doing this. You're facilitating the sale of GXToken. That is a token broker transaction. So these are when someone's coming and they're buying a new token, a newly issued token through your brokerage. Well, then the question is, what happens after the GX token is done being issued, when all the tokens are in circulation come December 1st, well, are you no longer able to earn on the token broker transaction? And that is when, once our token is done being issued, we open up our software to any company that is performing an ICO. So the same mechanism by which someone sold, one of our brokers got paid to promote GXToken is the same mechanism they will be able to promote their favorite ICO. Now, why does that become significant? Now it becomes that no matter what new ICO, STO, whatever offering is out on the market, you can just go into your back office, pick which one matters to you, which one you're excited about, which one you've established a relationship with, and now you have an entire setup, software integrated. You have your broker set up to be able to get that into the market. In other words, you become the most powerful distribution vehicle for every new token. And we're currently executing the version of that for our token to prove how effective this model is. Typically, people launch tokens and then they do small bounty programs, or they might do, they might go to an exchange. We envision a day that, the only way tokens will be distributed is through a series of GXBrokers, because there will be so many, and any token issuer will just be able to connect to it, and it'll appear in everyone's back office. And if anyone wants to promote that through their brokerage, they can. So the token broker transaction is currently used for GX tokens, but will actually be opened up for every company. And so we're creating the middle infrastructure between token issuers and token purchasers. And so that is like the modern day investment bank. That is exactly what a Morgan Stanley or a Goldman Sachs does. You have it's a democratized version to get the most lucrative tokens into the market. So if you are helping your investors make money with, for example, if let's say they make money with GXToken, then of course they'll be waiting for what do you have next? You guys already do a version of this, and now you will just have a standardized process for getting that out there. And you may or may not have, well, you will know after I'm done with this, token broker transactions are the most lucrative because the companies that are issuing the tokens have the most to give away in commissions. So that is a token broker. Until December 1st, until the end of our ICO, it will only be exclusive for GXT. But after December 1st, this will be a completely open two-way market. And so that is token broker transactions. OTC broker transactions are when someone is coming to your brokerage and they're buying a liquid cryptocurrency. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, Litecoin. This means that this is a product that has a liquid market value, and they're buying it from your brokerage. So something that's traded. This is what we would call an OTC broker transaction. And then the third one is digital broker. This is when someone is trading crypto to crypto as a customer of yours. So the first two are dollar transactions. They're using dollars to buy tokens, or typically they're using dollars to buy tokens or using dollars to buy crypto. The third one is once they're already a customer, they actually already have crypto, and they're using our trading platform, our routing engine, to be able to process crypto to crypto trades. That's called a digital broker transaction. And of course, that's only available after August 1st. Okay, so those are the three types of transactions that can be facilitated through the GX broker, through your platform. And you already, guys, if you've used it, some of you, you've seen that the token broker already is the one that you guys have been using. And then OTC broker is now live completely through your checkout. So the last one that's coming is digital broker. So how do you make money on these? So the next important word to understand is total transactional fees. Total transactional fees is the actual revenue that's created from someone buying, someone using your brokerage. And so that's slightly different than total transactional volume. Total transactional fees is how much new money, the fees that were charged on the transaction. So I'm going to give an example, but just remember that TTV, total transactional volume, is the entire transaction, and TTF is the total fees that were charged on it, okay? How fees are calculated, and this is kind of important. So in a token broker transaction, meaning they're buying tokens, right now that's only one token, it's GXT. 100% of the volume is calculated as fees. Let me repeat that. That's what it says right here, right? In the case of token broker transactions, TTF equals TTV, which means if someone buys $100 worth of tokens, GX tokens, all of that are essentially considered revenue, new revenue that's been generated because it's fees. And the ideology behind that is that there's no cost to creating for the company that's issuing the token. So the entire transaction can be something that is considered a fee. Okay, how does that differ with OTC broker transactions? Well, OTC broker transactions are not like that. If someone is buying $100 worth of Bitcoin, which is the volume, TTV, the volume is $100, it's not $100 in fees. It is a percentage of that in fees. Whatever percentage is what we consider the TTF percentage, which would result in the total transactional fees. Let me give you an example. Someone comes to your brokerage, they're buying $100 in Bitcoin, and there's a 1% fee. So the total transactional volume is $100. The total transactional fee percentage is 1%. And the total transactional fees denominated as dollars is $1. And the reason for that is there is a cost of facilitating that transaction, which is the cost of Bitcoin itself. So the customer is getting his Bitcoin. That is not revenue. That is the cost. I mean, that is not new revenue for the company. That's actually just the customer getting the products. The fees charged on that are the revenue. Okay. And then in digital broker transactions, the TTF percentage is fixed, meaning the company sets it. So on all digital broker transactions, these are crypto to crypto trades on the trading platform, the fee percentage is 0.1%. So if you, as you can see in the simple equation, the total transactional fees is the total volume multiplied by 0.1%, right? So if someone is doing $1 million, if someone's doing $1 million worth of trades, $1 million worth of volume in your platform, through your platform, which is very simple, then 0.1% is the total fees, which is $100. So the TTF in token broker transactions are 100% of the entire volume. Someone buys $100 worth of tokens, $100 is the total transaction fees. In the OTC broker, the TTF is the fees that are charged on the Bitcoin transaction. And who sets those fees? You guys. You guys set the fees on the broker OTC broker. So you go into your back office and you say, I want to charge on my OTC transactions 1%, 2%, 3%. Whatever you guys charge is the percentage of fees that are collected. That multiplied by the total transactional volume is the total transactional fees. In the digital broker transactions, we set the fee percentage. This is the crypto to crypto trading at 0.1%. So then it would be the total volume multiplied by 0.1% would result in the fees. And that's how you calculate TTF for all three different transactions. It's pretty straightforward once you wrap your head around it. But the one thing that you need to realize is, what does that mean? That means the token broker transactions have a lot of money up for grabs because the entire transaction is qualified as a fee. Okay. There are two types of transactions that compromise your volume. There's direct and there's indirect. Direct means they used your link. Indirect means they used not your link. They used a link of someone who launched a GX brokerage because of you. Does that make sense? That should be very clear. So direct transactional volume, there's a word I'll use a lot. Direct transactional volume is the total volume that comes from your directs. Indirect transactional volume is the total volume that comes from your indirects. And obviously you will have much more indirects than you will have directs. I mean, there's all of these different terms that are really straightforward if you actually think about them, right? You have your direct users, and then every transaction they do is a direct user transaction or DUT. And then the total transactional volume of your direct users is DTV, direct transactional volume. And then the revenue you extract from that is DTR, direct transactional revenue. Likewise, indirect user transaction, indirect transactional volume, and indirect transactional revenue. So it's built like a brokerage business, all this lingo. All right. So how do you make money from your directs? There's only two types of transactions that are occurring, and there's only two types of compensation styles. There's one from your directs, and then there's one from your indirects. So first, we're going to break down how do you make money from your direct transactional volume. So I'm going to show you how to calculate direct transactional revenue, which is what you actually get paid from token brokers, from token broker transactions, then from OTC broker transactions, and then from digital broker transactions. So calculating your direct transactional revenue for token broker transactions, very simple. You get 15% of the entire transaction. And I go through an extremely detailed example of how this works if you really want to know, but it's very simple. You take all the volume that comes in as a function of your of all your directs. So if they buy $100 in tokens, that's $100 in volume. Since token broker transactions are 100% fees theoretically, it's like if a transaction is worth $100, the fees are $100, and you make 15% of all the direct volume that comes in. So the DTV commission rate, the direct transactional volume commission rate for token brokers is 15%. Let's do an example. Bob is a GX broker. He is passionate about scarf technologies. And this is after, obviously, when there's more ICOs. So they are launching Scarf Token to help people stay immutably warm in the winter. Bob uses his GXBroker checkout to help his friends buy Scarf Token. 5 of his friends use his link and purchase a total of $1,000 worth of Scarf Token total. How much does Bob earn in direct transactional revenue? Okay, the total transactional volume from Bob is $1,000. The total transactional fees is also $1,000 because in a token broker transaction, TTF and TTV are the same thing. The direct transactional volume is $1,000 because they all use his link, and the commission rate is 15%. So it's a very simple formula. He makes $150. Okay? So does that make sense? That should be the very clear part. You are making 15% of all the tokens you sell direct. Calculating direct transactional volume for OTC transactions. Remember, now OTC transactions are when you're selling Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. through your brokerage. So here, this is very, very interesting. This is probably one of the more unique compartments of this product line. So the difference between an OTC transaction and a token transaction in math is that you set the fees on an OTC transaction. So the TTV, the total volume, is the amount of dollars that the customer spends, which means they could come and buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. So the TTV is that. The TTF is set by the broker. So the TTF is a percentage that's set by the broker. So note that the TTF, the broker has the ability to change the TTF percentage for each OTC transaction that they perform. However, whatever percentage they select becomes 100% of the total transactional fees for that transaction. So let me just take a second to explain that. I go on CN's link. I buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. CN has his TTF percentage or his commission percentage set to 2%. Okay? Everyone follows that, right? So that means the total transactional volume is $1,000. The total transactional fees is 2%, and the total transactional fees of the transaction in dollars is $20. 100% of the TTF, the total transactional fees, is $20. Make sense? He set that. He dictated that. It's $20, but it's 100% of the total fees is $20, but that's not 100% of the transactional volume, which is really 1,000. And he set how much that is. Okay, so what's the commission rate on the fees? 70% goes to the direct. Okay, what does that mean? Let's do an example. That means if CN set a 2% fee as his brokerage fee, as his OTC fee, he keeps 70% of that for all the direct transactions he does. Okay, example. Bob is a GX broker. He is long recognized as the techie in his friend circle. So whenever someone in his network wants to buy Bitcoin, they immediately turn to Bob. With the help of his GXBroker checkout, he is able to help 10 of his friends buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin each. In exchange for his convenient and friendly service, Bob charges 6% fee, which is kind of high, but I guess he's doing a lot. And that is seamlessly baked into his checkout process. His friends wouldn't even really know that. How much would Bob earn in direct transactional revenue from these OTC broker transactions? Okay, well, let's go through this. The total transactional volume is $1,000 multiplied by the amount of transactions, which is 10, right? So the total transactional volume is $10,000. That's how much volume is produced through his brokerage. He set his fee at 6%. So the total transactional fees is $600. Okay. And so out of his total transactional fees, which he set to be $600, Bob is keeping 70% of that. So Bob keeps $420. Okay. That should make, if he had set the fee to be 1%, the total transactional fees would have been $100 and he would have kept 70% of that. So that is simply how direct OTC transactions work. Okay. Again, pretty straightforward. Calculating the DTR for digital broker transactions. Digital broker transactions, again, I repeat, is once you help someone sign up, they're going on the exchange after August 1st and they're trading. They're trading. These are considered digital broker transactions. So in the digital broker transactions, a trade equals the total volume. And so for those of you guys that haven't traded before, if I'm trading $10,000 worth of Bitcoin for Ethereum, then the volume of that trade is $10,000. Fantastic. That's pretty straightforward in all of the transactions. The TTF, the total transactional fees, are set by the company at 0.1% of the trade. So 0.1% of the trade is charged as a fee. And as the person who directly referred them, you are making 35% of the TTF, the total transactional fees, which is set at 0.1% of all of the trades. So let me repeat that. The total trading volume is the total trading volume, total transactional volume. Then there are fees that we set, 0.1%, and you are making 35% of that for all of the directs you bring in. So let's do a simple example. Bob is a GX broker. Him and his friends like to trade between cryptocurrencies to see who can generate the best returns. Bob shows 4 of his closest friends the GX trade routing system so they can save time and reduce the risk of getting hacked. Each of his friends, 10 friends, perform 20 trades with an average of $2,000 per trade volume. How much does Bob earn from his direct transactional revenue? Let me repeat that. You got 10 friends, they're all trading. In a month, let's say, or whatever, a day in a week, they perform 20 trades each, which is not uncommon in a month. Each of the trades they perform has a total volume of $2,000, which is very small. But let's just use that as an example. Okay, well, first we have to calculate the total volume that was. That is $2,000 multiplied by 20 transactions, just 20 trades, multiplied by 10 users, which means there was $400,000 of trading volume. Okay, then the total transactional fees are 0.1% as set by the company. So the total fees that were generated is $400. So $400 was generated off of the $400,000 in trading volume. And the direct transactional volume is 35%. You make 35% as the broker who brought that customer in. So 35% of $400 is $140. That's how much you earn passively from 10 people making 20 trades, for example. Now, if you've ever seen my actual presentation, I talk about the type of trading volume that the large exchanges are doing, and that's in the billions. So when you're really bringing people in, you're getting them started with Bitcoin, you're getting them started with tokens, you're giving them the GXOS, you really can't control how much they're going to trade crypto to crypto. But so that the digital broker transactions are really a passive additional stream of income for you. If they're going and trading, you're capturing all that value that they would have led to Binance and Coinbase and etc. You got them started. Now they get to go trade crypto to crypto, and you're earning every time they make a transaction. You're making 35% of all of the transaction, of all of the fees that are collected by them routing their trade to any of the exchanges. So that's passive. Any time of the day, they can be placing 100 trades in a day. They can place one trade. That is just a completely open and high volatile, high volume market that you're not even, like, that's what I consider the icing on the cake here. You're making money in the token brokers, you're making money as an OTC broker, and then every time they trade using the routing engine, you're making money as well. So those are the three types of ways that you get paid from your directs. You make 15% of all the tokens that are sold. You set the fees for your OTC transactions and you take home 70% of the fees, and then you make 35% of the fees charged on crypto trading. That's on your direct, everyone that uses your link to sign up. Okay. And it's quickly recapped here in great detail. What is the TT and for each type of transaction? So what's the TTV for token brokers versus what's the TTF versus how much you're going to make? It's all outlined here. Okay. How do you make money from your indirects? How do you make money from people that you didn't refer, but you signed up brokers who signed up brokers who signed up customers? This is indirect transactions. And this is actually where I really need everyone's attention, because if you understand this, you'll understand the power of what we're doing and how it can scale infinitely. So we've created a technology called the broker chain. And broker chain is essentially a way for us to leverage a blockchain, a private blockchain, to be able to make a transparent and equitable profit sharing model. We saw every type of multi-tiered override commission structure there is, and we were really trying to put together one that stood heads and above everything else. And that's why we created the broker chain. So the broker chain is a proprietary technology that leverages the power of private blockchains to distribute commissions from a single transaction throughout multiple levels of the GX brokerage. And so you can learn about that here if you really want, but this is how at Global Exchange, we use the broker chain to calculate and pay out all of the indirect transactional revenue. Indirect transactional revenue is the revenue you're getting from indirect volume that's not your direct. So this is how it works. First, I'm going to explain it in English, and then I'm going to explain it in jargon. Let's say this is the best diagram for this, okay? So this is the customer. This is the customer who's actually generating the volume, okay? He has generated a transaction that puts $100 into the broker chain. Okay, so let me explain that a little bit. There is a percentage of each of the transactions that I named, token broker, OTC broker, and digital broker, that's for the direct. 15% on token broker, 70% on the OTC broker, and 35% on the digital broker. Now that's of the whole fees that were charged. What's the percentage allocated to indirect? 5% of the token broker transaction is allocated to the indirect, so that paying everyone in the chain. So in that case, we're just going to talk about token broker. If someone comes and buys $100 worth of tokens, $15 is given to the direct, and $5 is put into the broker chain for everyone else to get paid. So there's 15% going to the direct, 5% that goes to everyone else in this broker chain model. So I'm going to explain how that works here and using token broker as an example of a transaction. So customer's transaction that amounts to this much going to the broker chain. So if $100 is going into the broker chain, that means the customer purchased $2,000 worth of tokens. $2,000 worth of tokens means that the direct made 15% of that, which is $300. Nope, what am I saying? Which is 2,000, which is, oh my God, I like tripped out there. 15% of 2,000 is 350. Oh my God, 10%. Yes, $300. Yes, forgive me. It's $300. And then $100 goes into the profit sharing because that's 5%. Okay, fantastic. Let's look at how that's calculated. So customer pays $2,000, $100 goes into broker chain. Tim is the broker who referred that customer. So to Tim, this is Tim's direct, okay? Tim gets $0 from the broker chain because Tim is getting the direct. He's making the $300. Does that make sense? He's making the 15% of that transaction. So the 5% skips over Tim. The profit sharing skips over Tim because Tim is getting paid in the direct. And it goes to Bob, who referred Tim. Bob is the first person in the broker chain above the direct referee. And Bob takes 33% of the broker chain because he's first. He's the second closest to the transaction. So Bob is going to take 33% of the $100, which means Bob is taking $33. That's his override, okay? Then there's $66 that travels up. And that $66 is what's left in the broker chain. Bob's upline is, for example, yourself. And you are taking 33% of what's left in the broker chain, which is $21.99. So your override is $21.99. Then there is a total of $44 left if you just take 66 and divide it by what you just took out. That goes up to the next person in the chain. They're taking 33%, which is $14. And then it keeps going. So essentially, every single level takes 1/3 of what's left in the broker chain. And you can divide a number by 1/3 infinite amount of times. This is how we pay out on every single transaction, even if it's 1,000,000 levels removed from you. But the people that are closest to the transactions make by far the most amount of money. Right? So let me repeat that again. The closer you are to the transaction, the more money you make off that transaction because you're getting the first 1/3. The further you are from the transaction, you're still making something. You never get cut out on any dollar that happens in your brokerage. But depending on how far away from the transaction you are getting a percentage respective to that using this technology. So in this way, you don't need to worry about balancing or getting cut off or any of that stuff. It's just unlimited payouts on unlimited levels as a derivative of volume. And you are compensated most on the transactions that happen closest to you as a broker. Okay, so let's just do a quick run through for each of the types of transactions. Like I explained here, for token broker transactions, 5% of the total transaction is allocated to broker chain. So that means in a $2,000 transaction, 15% goes to direct, 5% goes into broker chain to be shared by everyone else. And there's detailed examples of how that works out here. In OTC broker transactions, 10% of the fees go into broker chain. So if you remember what I said, there is 100% of the fees that the broker sets. 70% he keeps. 10% of the fees he sets goes up the chain to everyone else that was, every other person gets also paid on that OTC trade in that same fashion. And then in digital broker transactions, remember the direct gets 35% of all the trading volume fees that he generates direct. 15% of all the fees goes up through the broker chain. So there's a total of 50% being paid out of all of the fees in the direct, in the digital transactions. So if we just do a recap, forgive me. So 15% of all the trading fees charged on all trades is now going into the broker chain to be shared by every single person that led up to that transaction. So that is really the two types of ways you get paid from all three types of transactions. You get paid direct and you get paid indirect. The directs are predicated on a very simple commission structure. The indirects are built on this technology called broker chain that allows you to monetize on every single transaction that ever happens within your brokerage. And there's detailed examples of how each of that plays out and what's the earning power depending on how large you build your team, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So before I go in any further, because I have obviously more things to talk about, I would like to open it up for questions just to make sure everyone's on the same page until as we stand right now.
I'm all good.
Say that again.
I'm all good. That's
Perfect.
been very clear. Thank you.
Amazing.
Well, yeah, I do have a recording of this, so you guys can see this second or third time. Yeah, get all the jargon out of the way.
Yeah. 1 second. I'm actually have my iPad open here. I will give the layman's drawing here, just so everyone can understand. Everyone can see it. If it can, I just joined the call as another person as Sharpan's iPad. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Can you guys just watch that screen for a second? Perfect. So you should see my whiteboard. Fantastic. So, and I hope I'm not like over lagging here, but this is how it works. Okay. On all tokens sold, the direct gets 15%. Indirect is 5% going into the broker chain that's divided by everyone. On the OTC, the direct gets 70% of the fees that he sets. 10% goes into the broker chain to be shared by everyone. On the digital transactions, digital crypto to crypto trades, the direct gets 35% and 15% goes into the broker chain to be shared by everyone. So the company is paying out a total of 20% of all tokens, of all volume coming in from tokens. 80% of all transaction trade fees are made by the OTC, and 50% of all routing fees charged to in the routing engine. So this is what's paid out to brokers in total. Now, the way that it's split up is what I just explained, but this gives you an idea of how much money is actually on the table as you start to scale this out. So that's just, I wanted to give that an elucidation. So Cian, do you want me to quickly cover how the broker dealer makes money and how that contrasts what a broker does? Is Cian there?
Yeah, just go for it, Sharpan. I think it'll be worth hearing.
Sorry, say that again. Yeah, so when someone becomes, so there's a, okay, that's a great question.
Yeah, go ahead. Worth hearing.
Okay, perfect. So I will explain that quickly. The question that was just actually asked is one that would be covered if I explain the broker dealer. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So one thing that you'll notice about this compensation plan is it's extremely equitable, but most of the money is captured here as a direct. You make most of your money from your directs. So that's very clear. And remember, this is only 1/3 of the actual comp plan. There's still getting paid for every trader you bring on board and the monthly revenues, the monthly reoccurring revenues you make for selling subscription products. But those are not good. This is just predicated on volume, which is the really lucrative one, I would imagine. But you can see that almost all the value is captured by the brokers in the direct level. What if you're someone that wants to build deep, that wants to have a deep business where it's 300 levels, 3,000 levels deep, and that's what you're focused on, not the direction you want to build deep? Well, that's why we've created a second license. This is the GXBroker license that is available for really anyone. It's cheap enough that anyone can get it. There's an additional license that I will stop sharing here. Stop share and share back on my screen, called the GXBroker dealer. Now, some of you guys may have heard me talk about this, but I don't really talk about it ever in a normal presentation because it is a little bit more, high level stuff. But I will talk about it here. So, what is a GXBroker dealer? A GXBroker dealer is someone that purchases a revenue sharing license from us out of the attempt to either white label or expand their broker business. So it's very clear. As a GXBroker dealer, you get to earn infinitely an override without losing any of the percentages over multiple levels. And so how it works, and there's additional benefits. You get an advanced broker dealer compensation. You get branded solutions. So if you want, you can white label our technology, and you get protocol governance like voting rights into how the platform is managed. The reason I don't talk about this because this costs $100,000 US to be able to buy into. And so it's really reserved for a couple types of people. A, you're already running an exchange and you just want to add products because you're white labeling it. B, you're already running a financial brokerage and you're doing enough volume where you just want to add crypto. Or C, you are building a big team that's going to go deep and you know that you can earn off of the entire team, that you would be able to earn infinitely off the entire team, that it would be worth your while to do so. But essentially, this is how the GXBroker dealer would make money. Now, this slideshow will explain it in, there's two additional ways, but let me explain it here in the screen share now that you've seen that. Fantastic. So back to my iPad. Hopefully you guys are there. So as a broker dealer, you would be getting an additional, where's my eraser? All right, I didn't know that I can slide down here. Pen. Perfect. As a broker dealer, you get an additional 5% override on all token transactions, 10% override on all OTC transactions, and 35% override on all digital transactions. In other words, you're overriding this percentage on your entire team. It never gets, your percentage never decreases. So whereas brokers make 15% off their directs and then 5% goes into a profit sharing chain, a broker dealer makes a fixed 5% on every dollar that comes in via their token transaction, irrespective of what level it happens on. It can happen on level 900. They're making 5% on that, which is an enormous difference in terms of how much money is there for them that, as they continue to scale down the line. Similarly, in OTC transactions, they get 10% of the transaction allocated just off the top. 10% of the whole fees of every transaction, undiluted, is paid to the broker dealer, the closest broker dealer that overrides that team. And 35% of all trading fees generated goes toward a broker dealer as well on the digital. So if you remember, we're already paying out 80% of this to just the brokers, because there's 70%. Brokers, 35% direct, 15% to broker chain, and then there's an additional 10% paid out here, which takes us to 90% of the entire transaction being paid out. 5% here, which takes us to 25% of all of the tokens, and then 35% here, which takes us to 85% of all the trading fees, goes direct to the broker dealer. So if you're a broker dealer and you're overriding your team, you're not getting you're not getting tapped into the broker chain. You're getting a fixed override on everything that happens, which obviously would be a considerable amount of money, because you're getting paid on every transaction without any real dilution, depending on how far it is down the line. And so that's why the broker dealer is really attractive for the types of people that I mentioned. How people become broker dealers is they buy $100,000 of it's a licensing fee from us, and then they get their broker dealer license. However, right now until August 1st, just like how our brokers didn't pay $500 in fees, they only paid a $500 worth of tokens. It's the same applicability. If you want to become a broker dealer, you just have to buy $100,000 worth of tokens, as opposed to paying $100,000 worth of fees, and you get your broker dealer, which is extremely lucrative, because obviously now you have, I don't know today's values, but some 400,000 tokens based off of that, and then you get your broker dealer license. You start earning immediately off this massive comp plan. It becomes very lucrative, and so a lot of companies are signing up as broker dealers with us to be able to embed this into what they're already doing. But I just thought I would share that. Because it shows you an opportunity, what's the next step is to become a broker dealer. And there are many different ways to become one. You can obviously buy one, like I just said. There is the ability to earn one. If you don't want to buy it, in order to earn one, what we allow our brokers to do is, if the first $75,000 you make off your commissions, you can use towards your broker dealer. And that would be it. You don't have to pay the full $100,000. You can actually buy your broker dealer for $75,000, so as long as you pay with the commissions that you earned as a broker. So that's an incentive mechanism. If you do the math, that just means that you need to bring in $500,000 into your direct, because 15% of $500,000 would be your 75 grand. So that is a simple way for you to actually earn your broker dealership as well. And then the last figure would be, you can also bring a corporation in or team up with a bunch of people to do the broker dealer. Let's say one person doesn't have the money, but 4 people have 25 grand, then you can do it like that and split the commissions of the broker dealer 4-way, because it is such an immense amount of commissions on the table. So yeah, I just wanted to give a quick touch on that. If you guys are really interested in that, or people that are interested in that, because you might not be, but you might not be in the position to do that, but you're bringing in a broker dealer. Now you're overriding a pretty big player. And so whether that's an existing company, whether that's a trader, whether that's a big broker, we are catering to those markets, and we have such a lucrative license for them. And right now there's a lot of broker dealers getting to the point of signing up, because they see that for their business, this can be a perfect add-on. And as a broker, you override them as well. There's nothing that a broker can't override a broker dealer. So yeah, and if you bring a broker dealer, you're still making 15% of their initial transaction, which is 15 grand. So there is quite a bit of, you can get a dealer brokerage. And yeah, absolutely. You can get it anytime in the future. And the additional thing I will add on there is that if you're a broker dealer, let's say you're making these commissions, and then someone in your team becomes a broker dealer, what happens? So then they become the ones to inherit this flat override, but you don't get cut off. You now get put into a broker dealer chain. So remember, there's a broker chain, and then there's also a broker dealer chain. And a broker dealer chain would be another 5% of the token transactions, another 10% of the OTC transactions, and another 15% of the digital transactions. These are allocated to the same concept, goes into a chain, everyone gets 1/3, but it's only shared by broker dealers. So if you are already a broker dealer, someone becomes one, you don't get this anymore because they're getting that, but you now get put into a very exclusive broker dealer chain. So you're always making money on that. And now I think you can appreciate how much money we're actually paying out. Because if we're paying out a broker dealer, a broker chain, and a broker dealer chain, we're paying out a total of 30% of all token transactions, 100% of all OTC transaction fees, and 100% of all routing engine fees made here, because there's all of that being calculated for. And so, yes, you got it. After August 1st, you'd be paying. The question is, can you still purchase your broker dealer? Absolutely. You can purchase it. You can earn it. You'd be buying it. You wouldn't be buying tokens. You'd just be buying it, direct. You'd be buying it direct from us. You can white label that. We would take our entire technology stack. We would put your branding on it. It would be built from scratch for you. Not from scratch. It would be built, branded for your solution. So that's really the comp plan. And we want to work with our early brokers. You guys are so early in this. The money to be made is just insane as this grows out and the crypto market grows out, because every single person is a customer, no matter what company they're in, no matter what's their angle, no matter which cryptocurrency they support. Every single person is a customer, and so it's pretty magical the way that this will grow out and how you can scale it and build a book of business where you get paid on every type of transaction for every dollar that goes through your brokerage. So the question here from Craig is it white labeled or do they become GX affiliates? So I think that's why I wanted to really explain. And yeah, you can get the brokerage for $500 right now. So the question from Craig is, if you're a GX broker, not a broker dealer, you are functioning as an affiliate of the brand. You get your own checkouts to your driving traffic. If you are building out your own exchange, you can become a broker dealer and white label it, and then that would be your responsibility to manage compliance. Our technology will still manage the back end and calculate all the revenues for you if you're a broker dealer, but that's a little bit more of a technical and specialized conversation that we can have if there's someone that's particularly interested in that. Yeah, big, CN, if you're there, do you want me to talk about the opportunity for people bringing in, oh my God, he's driving. Is he going to pick up Bitcoin?
No, I'm actually, I was at a meeting earlier,
Okay.
and the meeting's over and everyone's leaving. So I have to juggle and make sure that I get the connection still there so I can keep recording this call.
Amazing. Cian, do you want me to give them, most of the people on this call are brokers, do you want me to give them an example of how they can actually position themselves to sell broker dealers in the same way Wealth Boss was sold?
Well, if you can give us in less than 2 minutes, you can do that. Then we can probably do that on another call in more detail. But
Yeah,
I think
okay.
what I'm going to do with what you've done is I'm going to put what you've done simplified in a PowerPoint with moving parts, and then I'll release that sometime this week. But yeah, if you can give us an idea of what's going on with that part, then yes, please.
Yeah, sure. It's, by the way, it is actually, you know what, Cian, I'll make a completely different video for that. You're right. I don't want to complicate it with that. Yeah, it's a one-time buy of 500. You're just buying, in order to become a broker, all you're doing is buying $500 worth of tokens and you get your GX brokerage. The one thing I do want to do on this call, however, before I go, is to walk everyone through how they can use their brokerage to sell Bitcoin today, because there's many questions about that. Okay? So,
yeah, perfect.
Perfect. I am going to start screen sharing on my computer. Back to my main screen.
Yeah, so I mean, if you can take us through a call, if somebody wants, let's say, $5,000 to $10,000 worth of Bitcoin, what will we do?
Yep, okay, so everyone can see my screen. It's on Google. Perfect. All right. So this is what your new checkout link looks like. You might have seen it already by going on it, but this is what it looks like.
So, bro, we can't see it.
You can't see it. Oh, what am I doing with this? Oh, now you can see it. Okay, so this is what your checkout link would look like if you go to it right now. There are two options for your customers. Your customers can buy GXToken, which that's what the old one was only able to do. And now your customers are all able to buy Bitcoin as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna walk everyone through the Bitcoin process. Customer clicks buy Bitcoin. Actually, one second, let me go to my link. This is some random person's link that ended up on my screen. Whoever this is lucky, because every time I do a presentation, I'm just using their link. So this is my link. Where you can find your link, I'll send it to you guys in your private chat. I'll show you where you can find it as well. So customer clicks buy Bitcoin. We ask him, how much Bitcoin do you want to buy? He can either type in the US dollar amount that he wants to spend, or he can type in the Bitcoin amount that he wants. Let's say he types in $100. calculate. I want to spend $100. We immediately give him a quote of how much Bitcoin he's going to get. If he's content with that, he clicks proceed with payment. If you're Canadian, you have 3 options. If you're international, you have 2 options because e-transfer only works in Canada. So you can either wire transfer the money. If it's over $5,000, we recommend it to be a wire transfer, or you can pay with credit card if it's under $5,000. And we would also appreciate that until June 1st, you keep the credit card transactions under $1,000 per day per customer. So because we're working still to manage the processing part of this. And so let's just say it's an under $1,000 transaction, they click credit card. We ask them, do you already have a Bitcoin wallet set up? If they say yes, then we're going to ask them for it so we can send them their Bitcoin. If they say no, which is what I'm going to say, they can enter their email and one of our onboarding staff will get in contact with them to help them set up their Bitcoin wallet. First step is email. Okay, fantastic. I'm putting in my email. Next step, customer puts in his full name. I'm going to put in my full name. Next step, customer puts in his step. Next is home address. I'm just going to put in a bunch of letters, but you put in your home address. And then pay with card. Okay, so I would pay my $100 of Bitcoin with my card, and immediately I would check out. The customer would then immediately be entered into an OTC support WhatsApp chat. Do you guys know how each of you guys have your individual broker chats? We give each of your clients a private support chat. You can ask Sal, I believe he did a transaction today. And so immediately they're entered into one with the support team. And as the transaction is being executed, they're getting updates in their WhatsApp chat. Okay, your trade has been executed. It's been sent. You should have received it by now. And in that chat, they can ask questions. If they haven't set up their wallets, we help them with that. They can ask technical queries. Every step of the way, we're there to support them, even after their transaction's done. If they have questions, it's like your own private Bitcoin assistant, your own private Bitcoin broker that you guys, and if for your customers, you'll be included in that so you can see what they're doing. And it is an incredible amount of support that's given to the customer purchasing Bitcoin. And so after that, the process is done. The Bitcoin will be in their wallet within an hour of them being able to do that. Usually that's how long it takes. If not, the support team will explain what's the delay and when they can expect it. That's if they're doing credit card. If they're doing wire transfer, let me explain it as well. Yes, the answer is yes to that question. Okay, so the customer would click buy Bitcoin. And you would type in, I want to buy $7,000. Calculate. Perfect. Proceed with payment. I click wire transfer. And let's just say the same process. I say, no, I don't have a Bitcoin wallet. Okay, enter my email. Enter full name. Enter phone number. Enter home address. And then this page comes out. This is the wire transfer details. They can download it directly from your brokerage, or they can email it to themselves so they can take it to the bank. They then take that to the bank and proceed with the wire transfer. As soon as the transaction is processed here, they get into their support chat. The only difference between wire and credit card is that wire takes a couple days. So they transfer the money today, and then they're in their support chat. They show us that they transferred the money. We're waiting. We give them we talk to them back and forth. Then when the money lands in our bank account is when we give them a live quote. So they don't need to worry about holding a price risk or anything like that. How long does it? Oh, that's a good question. If they have, it's immediately once their WhatsApp chat is set up. So if their WhatsApp chat, which should happen right when they make a transaction, and so you can, it's like it's instant communication. It's not like they need to wait for us to communicate with them. Once the WhatsApp chat is set up, they can just ask, and we ask them, yeah, where's this wallet? Because we can't send the Bitcoin out until they have a wallet. We have their wallet address. So we try to get it out as soon as possible. So in the WhatsApp chat, we'll be like, hey, if you guys don't have a Bitcoin wallet, when can we get on a call to set that up for you so we can send your Bitcoin out? But coming back, sorry, I'm just answering a question that came to me via Zoom. But coming back to this, someone sends out a wire today. They're already in their WhatsApp chat with the support team. When the money lands, they get a notification saying money has landed. Can we give you a quote? Then we give them a live quote. If they're happy with that quote, they say yes. Once they say yes, the trade is executed and they get their Bitcoin within an hour. They just don't have to hold any price risk while the money is being transferred. Make sense? That's the difference between wire transfer and credit card. Last question, because this question will come up. What are the fees? So let's go back to the checkout page. Buy Bitcoin, this page. So we provide a spot rate as us, Global Exchange. You guys then add your broker fees. If you haven't set your broker fees, which no one's set right now because they can't, because they haven't accessed their back office to do that, it's just generically set at 1%. Okay, so everyone's still making that 1%. That's the total transaction fees. So that's 1% already over spot. Okay, if they're paying with credit card, there's a 5% credit card processing fee that I wish we were keeping. Unfortunately, that's not the case. That is going directly to credit card processor, and we're lucky it's not more. The largest Canadian exchange is called CoinSquare. Their credit card processing fee is 10%. So that's just the charge of, actually, I kid you not, is that, so that's just the cost of convenience. That's why I tell everyone, if you're doing more than $5,000, don't do credit card. It's not worth it. So if they're doing wire transfer or e-transfer, there's no 5% fee. But the price they're going to see here is including the 5% fee, because this is meant for online transactions. So tell your customer that if they're doing a wire, they're not paying this. They're going to get a live quote that doesn't include the 5% fee as soon as their transaction has cleared, their wire has cleared. Cool? Does that make sense to everyone? So if it's wire transfer, it's just the broker fee. If it's credit cards, broker fee plus credit card processing, right? So those are the two options. By the way, if you're Canadian, you're living a great life because there are so many other options. You can do e-transfer, which is instant, and you don't pay the credit card processing fee. You can do bank drafts direct to we have all the Canadian banks set up, so that's also instant. And you wouldn't be paying the fee. Someone like today, we did a couple of huge transactions just because they were Canadian and they could do a bank draft. So we're working on international solutions in the US and in Europe, in Australia, and other countries where you would be able to get the money quicker and facilitate local payment processors to reduce the price. But that's the way that it's set up right now. Okay. After in a couple of weeks, we'll be also customers will be able to buy Ethereum directly straight. They'll be able to buy more and more cryptocurrencies leading up to August 1st, which is when they'll just be able to sign into their platform and trade until their hearts are content. Yeah, I think that is.
There's a question in chat. Sure,
no, the question in the chat is like, I answered them all. Yeah, that's just the fee that the bank charges is $35 usually. Like, what's the wire transfer fee? That's monumentally cheaper than credit card processing fees because it's a fixed fee. So, if they're transferring 50 grand and paying $40 for that, yeah, that's something they'll have to swallow. But that's just, bank wire transfer fees, monumentally cheaper than paying 5%. So that is the play. Very exciting, very, very exciting stuff. I would always, encourage. I just want, what I would recommend actually is everyone tonight or tomorrow go on their own link and buy $10 worth of Bitcoin using credit card. So you can go through the process yourself of getting put in a private support chat for the trade and just how it happens so that you get an understanding of how it works. Okay?
Awesome. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, will you have time to go over the back office, or do you want to do that for another session?
We'll do another webinar for that, probably Sunday. Why don't you just set it up? Sunday, 9 o'clock, back office training.
Done. Okay, I'll set it up.
Beautiful. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you
also, Sunday, 9 o'clock. Let me be very clear. Sunday, 9 o'clock. Everyone who's earned commissions until that day will be able to withdraw their commissions on Sunday as soon as they log in. So we'll get everyone on this call.
Okay.
Cool.
Awesome. All right, Sherpan, thank you for your time. And everyone else, thank you for staying on at the very end. It was a lot of information. There is going to be recording. And what I'm going to do is do my best to put together a PowerPoint together with a lot of moving parts so you can see how much and how all the numbers work. And then I'll get that by you first, Sherpan. If it's good, then I'll send it out to the group.
Sure.
Other than that, thanks for all the information, for all you do. And everyone else, thank you for being a part of this. this is going to be a monumental, really think of it as having your own Coinbase. And once we get, we infiltrate ourselves to all the different network marketing companies, all the Bitcoin exchanges that are out there. Millionaires Club. That's how I see it.
Millionaire, easily.
Bitcoin goes up. So we're in the right place at the right time.
Absolutely.
So again, Sharpan, thank you for your leadership and putting this together. Oh, there's one question there.
Amazing. Oh, in your follow-up, figure out, address how this is all compliant. I'll make a video specifically for that. That's a big question.
Okay.
Perfect.
Very cool.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone, for coming out, and we'll see you on Sunday. I'll put that out to everyone, okay?